Anthropic just rolled out its latest AI model, Claude 3.7 Sonnet. It's stated as the most intelligent model today and the first hybrid reasoning model on the market. It apparently shows strong improvements in coding and front-end web development. Alongside this release, they also introduced a command line tool for agentic coding, Claude Code, available in preview. Let's take a quick look and see how the benchmarks stack up, because it's pretty impressive. It's impressive how fast you hit that subscribe button as well. So here on Claude, you can see I'm on Claude 3.7 Sonnet at the moment. But if I click into this, you can see we have the options for thinking mode. I can choose normal or extended. Normal, best for most use cases. This is pretty much your normal LLM mode that we've been using before. But then we have extended, which is best for math and coding challenges. Extended thinking is what gives Claude those reasoning capabilities, while also giving you its thought process at the same time. Let's test this out then. I've given it a prompt about the Monty Hall problem. I'm only really interested in seeing its thinking mode. I can't really tell you if it's the best model based on a single prompt. That's what the benchmarks are for later. So if I go ahead and hit enter here, making sure I'm in that extended thinking mode, you're able to see its thought process here. If I click in and expand that, you can see that it's streaming in. Now, why this is going, it's worth mentioning why this is called the first hybrid reasoning model. Extended thinking mode doesn't just switch to a different model with a separate strategy. Instead, it just allows the same model more time and effort to answer. Something quite cool here as well is that the API allows you to control the budget for thinking. So you can tell Claude to think for no more than N tokens up to its output limit of 128,000 tokens. So you can really fine tune the speed, cost, and quality of an answer. There we go, you can see that it's answered my prompt and it's used 19 seconds of thinking time. And as I said, we can go in and actually view its thought process inside of here. And then we also get the answer down here when we go ahead and collapse that. Now, obviously, as I said, a single answer doesn't mean much. We'll see later the quality on the benchmarks. Before we look at that though, I do want to mention something interesting that they mentioned in that blog post. You probably know that Claude has pretty much reigned as the best coding model for a while, reflected by the fact that it's the most used cursor model. In this model, they state that they have optimized somewhat less for math and computer science competition problems, and instead shifted focus towards real-world tasks that better reflect how businesses actually use LLMs. So did this help it in the benchmarks? First up, let's take a look at SWE-bench. You can see that it outpaces Claude 3.5 Sonnet and the rest at 62.3%, but it goes up to 70.3% with custom scaffolding. If you don't know what custom scaffolding is, essentially it provides AI models with specialized tools and support structures that handle routine tasks, allowing the model to focus on the core reasoning, while external mechanisms manage things like file retrieval and test validation. In the appendix, they mentioned that it had a planning tool, a bash tool, and a file editing tool. The next benchmark is SWE-bench. This tests AI agents on complex real-world tasks with user and tool interactions. Again, as you can see, it is best in class. Taking a look overall, you can see that Sonnet excels at basically everything: instruction following, general reasoning, multimodal capabilities, agentic coding, and then with its reasoning mode, extended thinking, it performs even better, especially with coding and math. I'm sure Cursor will be adding this soon, so hopefully you'll be able to try it out. Now, one disappointment to me is that the API costs do remain the same. It's $3 per million input tokens and $15 per million output tokens. I guess there's a price to pay for the high quality, but when we have Gemini and DeepSeek being so cheap, I'm surprised we didn't see any movement on price from Claude. Another exciting announcement though was Claude Code. This is a research preview agentic coding tool, allowing you to use Claude in your terminal, and you can get started with it today by installing it via npm. Once you have it installed, all you need to do is type in the Claude command in a project that you want to load it up in, and as you can see, it's going to go ahead and launch the Claude Code research preview. Once we're in here, I can go ahead and ask it things like explain this project to me and hit enter, and you can see it goes ahead and looks through my files, and then it will come up with an answer. And there we go, you can see that it's looked through that code base I just gave it and it's correctly identified that it was a Hacker News clone project built with Next.js, TypeScript, and Tailwind. And if we scroll up here, you can see it also tried to read the project plan to understand some information about my project. And then at the top here, it says it's a very early stage Next.js project. All of this is correct. You can continue to do all of the things that you'd expect of an AI coding tool, so I could ask it to add a submit page and form here. As you can see, it's going to go ahead and ponder that. And after about a minute there, it asked me if I want to edit the page.tsx. I'll say yes and don't ask again. The same thing now happening with running commands, so it's asking if it can run the npm run command, and again, I'll say yes. So now that it's finished that task, I've scrolled back up to the top so we can see its sort of thought process here. You can see I said add a submit page, and then it says search through the code base to get a better understanding of the current structure. Then it searches for some patterns, so it found my header pattern, and then it searched for this pattern here to find a few more files. And overall, it's just trying to understand my project a bit more. And then it finally went ahead and created that submit page for me. And as a final step, I'll ask it to commit my changes with Git. And there we go, you can see that it committed those changes that it made with a Git commit message of implement Hacker News clone with submit page, and then also some description. Now, if you're wondering what this is all for when we have AI IDEs like Cursor, the goal with Claude Code is to better understand how developers use Claude for coding to inform future model improvements. There we go. Are you finally happy that Anthropic dropped a new model? Are you confused why it's not called Claude 4? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, subscribe, and as always, see you in the next one.